You're welcome to our class for today. Our class today, it's on social studies as a subject. In our previous class, we discussed about the family and we talked about the types of family that we have. Today, we are going to talk about consequences of family size on the individual, and we are going to look into the consequences of a large family and the consequences of a small family. What makes a family large? Remember in our previous class when we talked about the types of family, we talk about the nuclear family, and under it we have the polygamous family and the monogamous family. If you look into the monogamous family, you find out that it is a kind of family structure that will involve more persons being part of that family, because it's not just the father, the mother, and the children. In this case, it involves wives, more than one woman. And if, for instance, a man marries more than one wife, it implies that if there are two or more, the number of children that will come out of this marriage is going to be more. If the man has 3 wives, the 3 wives have 4 children, you imagine that that family is going to be a family of 12. But in a monogamous family, where you have just the man, the woman, that's the husband, the wife, and the children, the woman might not have as many children as that of a polygamous home. So today we are going to look into family size. How does it affect the children in the home? How does it affect members of the family? First, let's talk about the large family. The large family comprises of father, mothers, and many children. Now, if a family size is large, they are more in number in a house, the house will be overcrowded. Remember, I am talking about the consequences of family size on the individual. The more the persons that live in a particular house, the more crowded it becomes. Let's take for instance, a man has 3-bedroom flats and he has just 1 wife and 3 children. The home will be spacious for them. But now come to think of it, whereby the man have 3 wives, 12 children, living in a 3-bedroom apartment. How do you think the home will be? It will be very crowded. So, one consequence of a large family is it leads to overcrowdedness. The home will be overcrowded because many children or many wives are part of the family. That is one consequence of a large family. Then, secondly, the extent of care given to each child will be minimal. If you have 12 children, if you have to make out time for these 12 children, you find out that it will be more difficult for you to have time for each of these 12 children. And so the care in a very large family, it's minimal. That is another consequences. A third consequences is discipline is not always carried out to the proper degree. Because you might not be able to know a child to the extent you would have known the child. There are many. An individual difference come into play in this number of children you have. And so if individual difference come into play and you don't understand these individual differences, applying discipline to these children may be difficult, because it is not the same discipline that child A needs that child B will need, and it's not the same child C will need. So understanding their mechanism, that is their personality, will come into play here, because you have to understand them, each and every child in their home, to know the extent of discipline you will give. And so the disciplinary measure in a large family, it's minimal, because you might not know them in detail, or you might not have time to discipline these children. Then another thing too, it's the health of the children may be at stake, or the health of the family members may be at stake. If you have 3 children, the care you will give to 3 children will not be the same care you will give to 12 children, will not be the same care you will give to 18 children. And so the health issue related to each of these children might not be well taken care of. So it might lead to health challenges, because you might not have time to focus on every child. Or even if you have time, the money to spend on each of these children if they are ill might not be there. And even if there is money, the degree of health care you will give to each of these children might not be the same with an individual who have a small size family. We've talked about 3 or more now of a large family. Then the possibility of raising children that will be more or less nuisance to the society will be there, because the way you will oversee your family will not be as much as you would have done. You go out to work, the mothers go out to market, or equally go to work. You don't know the friends of these your children. And even if you know the friends of the children, how many of the children do you know their friends? There are many in number. Do you know the friend of child 1, child 2, child 3 to child 18? Do you know who they associate with? So, large family increases vices in the society, because you might not be able to have a full insight into what these children are up to. That's another consequences of a large family. Then, in a large family, another consequences, which of course is the 5th or the 6th one here, there is always chaos in the family. Because you have mother A, mother B, mother C, mother D, or whichever number you have. And these mothers have their own children. And the children of mother A and mother B and mother C might not interrelate in a better way. So there is always times when there will be quarrel, there will be fighting, there will be uproar. Even if you as a father or the family want to live in unity, the children, because they are children, they might have cause to quarrel or fight. So it increases vices in the home and even in the society. That is another consequences of a large family. It equally leads to overpopulation of our nation. It is said for every family to plan their family. When you plan your family, you will be able to have the number of children you can cater for and care for. In that way, the population of a country will be well planned. That's another consequences of a large family. Then, the rate of education. the extent of education given to this individual might not be as much as it would have if it is a more smaller family. If you have 18 children and these children are going to go to school, the amount of money you will spend on 18 children and the amount of money you are going to spend on 3 children, the difference is wide. And you may want to attend to every child. You may want them to have the basic necessity of life or the basic education they need, but you might not do as much as you would have done if the number of children is minimal or if the number of children is small. So it can lead to uneducation of these children. In that case, the rate of uneducated children will become more. We are still on the consequences of a large family. Now let's talk about nutrition. Every child requires attention and every child needs to be well fed. The nutrition of a child is very important for the growth of the child and for the development of the child. Imagine you have so many children and the wages that come to the home is not as large as the number of children that are in the house. How do you think the quality and quantity of food that these children will have will be? They won't have the basic nutrients, the basic nutrition that they need to grow as children. So, the health of the children will be at stake because they are not having enough to eat. They are not fed well, and that impacts or that has a negative effect on the children. So their feeding habits now suffers. Another consequence is it leads to negligence of these children. It leads to negligence of the children because you might not have the time to pay attention to each child. So the time to work with individual child or individual of these children might not be there, and you will not know what their needs is and how you are supposed to deal with them individually. Even if you know some of them so well, you might not know others as much as you know some of them. So it requires your time to be with them, and the time is not what you will be able to afford because you will not be able to allocate different time to the number of these children that you have. So we've seen that a large family is not always the best. So it is better as children, as students, as those growing into adulthood, to have that self-consciousness in your mind, to know that if I grow up, I am going to have a well-planned family that I can care for, a well-planned family that I can take care of, a well-planned family that will not suffer in any angle of their life. So the essence of us taking this in social studies, the consequences of family size on the individual, it's for you to know how you are going to prepare yourself for a better life in the future if you happen to be a father or a mother. That will be it on this class. In our next class, we are going to take the consequences of small family on the individual. So please follow along as we take the next episode in our next class on our social study class on the small family. What are you going to learn from having a small family? Come along, be part of that class, and you will like what you will hear. Thank you for being part of our class today. Until our next class, I'll see you there.